You're watching Teach Me AI with host Nick Niehaus.
Hey, Nick. Thanks for joining me today.
Yeah. No, thanks for having me, Nick. I'm really excited to share with you guys.
Yeah, no, I've been looking forward to this. So let's just get right into it. What are you going to be showing us here today?
Yeah, man. So I get into some thought. When you reach out to me, it's like, what is one thing you can show our audience, that will just be able to help them out? And it really made me think, like, what is one thing I can show them? And this is something that I've been doing for quite a long time since like ChatGPT and these different tools came out. And to me, it's became so simple, I almost forgot to share it, but I think this is the best way to go with. What I am going to show you how to do, it's one of my mentors always told me. He said, the best copycat wins, right? He's like, the best copycat wins. And, one of my favorite things is just rip off and duplicate. So
Love it.
Before this, you'd have to sit down and formulate all these different things and try to figure out what this person's doing, figure out the entire strategy. I'm going to show you guys how you can do that really in a couple minutes. And then even more so too, how to use this with your ideal client profile. So I'm going to give you some prompts that I use, and I use this daily, literally to create content to help with my channels, to help build people's channels. So I'm going to show you guys how to first create your ideal client profile and then rip off anybody's strategy off of YouTube and make it your own.
Wow, that's awesome. Look, let's get into it then.
All right, let's get into it. So in order to get started, first, you go to any marketing conference, what do they tell you to do? Start with your ideal client profile. Who are you marketing to, and clearly identify who they are. So here is all I do. So I use these prompts right here, creating your ideal client profile, and it goes in depth. What are the pain points? What are the goals? What are the fears, the motivations, the internal dialogue, common objections? How does a life change look like from the suffering of pain points? So it goes deep to help clearly identify who you are marketing to. And this is all I do right here. I copy these prompts and I come to ChatGPT and I say, my target audience, because you have to tell them who your target audience is, and I'll say like first time millennial home buyers in Cleveland, Ohio. When you pick your target audience, guys, I'm using real estate because that's the industry that we use. It's really important that you don't just say buyers, sellers, or something. Like, be very specific about who you want to target and who you want to market to. And then from there, I just copy and paste these prompts because I tell it who my target audience is, and I paste it in here. So then I just let ChatGPT do some work here. And I'm able to just read through this. It says target audience up top, first-time millennial home buyers in Cleveland, Ohio. Pain points, starts outlining its pain points. Coming through here, fears, making a poor investment decision or overpaying for a home, getting stuck with hidden costs or problems. Goals, creating a stable environment. Motivation. So then it just goes through, and I ought to take my target audience at a glance and help start understanding what makes them tick. Here's one of my personal favorites, Nick, internal dialogues. These are always a great way, I believe, to start videos, to start different content, because if you can literally speak to that voice that's in their head, their internal dialogue, hey, chances are you're thinking, what if you regret this decision in a few years of buying your first home? What's up, guys? My name is Nick, and I'm going to show you guys exactly why you shouldn't be thinking that. Speaking of their internal dialogue right away. Objections, suffering from pain points, life after solving problems. So it goes pretty deep on this. Picture of a life free from problems. And then it even creates a quote, ideal client at the bottom. And just this in itself for me, before AI, my brother and I, this is what we would do with clients. We would sit down for hours to clearly identify who they are, pain points, goals, fears. We got paid a lot for it. And that's why when this came out, I'm like, shit, bro, we gotta make an adjustment here. So, and then it clearly lays out your ideal client profile, right? So what I do from here, it's actually pretty simple. I just copy all of this and I just open up a new Google Doc. The reason being, copy and paste. Just make it ICP, first time millennial home buyer. So I open up in a Google Doc. And the reason I do that is just for ChatGPT to be able to read it better, so that way I can go back and reference it. What I do from here is I just download this. Download it as a Microsoft Doc, and I use one of the newer things that came out with ChatGPT, these projects. So then I open up a new project and just label it ICP, first time millennial home buyer. I create myself a nice little project here. What I do from here is I just add a file. So I just add the document that I just downloaded. So now it's kind of what this does is it gives it a reference point. So that way, every time that I chat with this project, it references the ICP, the ideal client profile that I just created.
Oh, wow.
So now I'm able to chat with this, but this isn't where I stop, right? Because like when you create content, when you create different things, I always like utilizing a reference point as to what I am doing. So the tool that I use for YouTube to be able to transcribe things and get notes from YouTube, it's just called getmerlin.in. It's free and it's a Google Chrome extension. They have a free where you can use only so many quota a month. Never went over the quota, so I keep using it for free. So I use getmerlin.in. And this is where, like I was saying, the best copycat wins. So I'm sure you guys are familiar. YouTube University, it's an amazing place. There's so much that you can learn from here. So what I do is I copycat. I can type in YouTube for real estate agents. Let's just see. Video that pops up. All right, YouTube for real estate agents. Let's take this video. Step by step to rank number 1. All right, great. Here's all I do. On the right-hand side, this is where Merlin pops up. I just click generate transcript. Literally transcribes the entire video that teaches us how to rank number 1 on YouTube. And there's this button here that you can just copy. So I just copy the entire video, come back to my docs, and paste it here. So now I have the entire training labeled out. YouTube. Let's just call it YouTube for the sake of this video. And what do? I just download it again. Bring it back to projects. And I add it as a new project. So now this project has 2 documents. 1, how to become an expert on YouTube and rank number 1. And 2, exactly who my ideal client profile is. I just add instructions. Act as an expert YouTube strategist for first-time millennial home buyers in Cleveland, Ohio. My goal is to go viral and get clients. So now when I say this is just rip off and duplicate, once I have my ICP, this is just an example of how you can do it for YouTube. And I can just start asking it questions. Now it knows exactly who I'm marketing to, their goals, their fears, their motivations, pain points, internal dialogue. It knows a step-by-step process of exactly how to rank number 1. I say, give me a 30-day action plan and content strategy for first-time millennial home buyers. Include topics, headlines, and keywords. So for me, once it has this information, I just start diving into it, and I can just start having conversations. Layering the foundation. Based on the video, it's laying it out exactly what you should be doing. And for me, I know you can just ask ChatGPT to act as an expert in YouTube, but I don't really just trust all the information that it gathers. I always like giving it a simple reference point, especially if you know a YouTuber you've been following for years, maybe this video, maybe Nick or some people, that you love their training, rip off and duplicate, copy the training, create your ICP, and then you can come in here and actually get actionable steps for your business.
Wow. So let me ask there. I mean, obviously, you know, there's a lot of these kinds of trainings on YouTube. Have you found any that sort of produce a better result than others, or is it just as simple as just take your favorite and run with it?
I would say the people who can clearly articulate their message are the people that to go with, not the one that just shows you how to do it on a computer, that step-by-step walk you through it. I found there's a reason the good YouTubers have the views and the things that they have. It's because they do know how to thoroughly go through a system and a process. So chances are I like finding the best videos out there, the ones that I trust, the people who have good views, who show me exactly their results. So for me, I usually kind of stick towards the top if I'm going to pick a video.
And I would think it makes sense to get a video that's less demo and more of them talking, because you're using the transcript, right? So anything that they show on the screen but they don't explain thoroughly, it's not going to translate, right? So yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
Cool.
absolutely. And then in this process too, this is where it's once you have your ICP, you can just keep creating projects. I can come in here and say SEO for real estate agents. And literally, they will walk you through rank first. I think this is the guy that I like. Yep, it's the one that I've used before. I just generate transcript. Come back here. And just do SEO. For me, like I said, I'm like, what is something that I do literally almost daily? ICP, first time SEO. I create projects. I rip off people's videos. I duplicate it onto here. And I just have my ICP that I add to each one.
And so once these are set up too, I mean, you can come back and kind of have further conversations, and like it's just going to always have this information in there to reference.
Yeah. No, great question. So yes, once your projects are set up, every one of my projects, the files are already in here, and all the past conversations I have are in here as well.
Oh, okay.
So then I just create my ICPs, identify which videos that I want to use. And then I build one for YouTube. I build one for Instagram. I build one for Facebook. I build one for emails. I build ones for SEO. Have my specific ideal client profile that I do for each one. Then I just go back each way and keep building on each one of these. And I think I just want to mention this for the business owners out there. Don't go out and create 10 different ideal client profiles. I usually say stick to about 2 or 3 and just keep marketing to them over and over and over and over again. That's a big place I see a lot of people fail. And that's one thing that ChatGPT and especially this process will allow you to do is clearly identify your ideal client profile and just keep coming up with fresh content just for that ICP over and over and over and over again.
What do you think? Yeah, I mean, we see that a lot too, where folks, have a hard time being committed to, even one customer avatar. Obviously, we always have this idea, I want to appeal to everybody, right?
Yeah.
I want everybody to be my customer. How do you help somebody narrow that down, right? So, I mean, obviously, you didn't have to say much, which is what's interesting here, right? Like we just sort of said first-time buyer in a certain city, and you're getting this entire profile from there. So is it about narrowing it down to just that much? Or like what advice would you give to an agent that's like, I want everybody?
Yeah, look, if you're for everybody, you're for nobody, especially when it comes to marketing, right? You'll never actually appeal or attract the clients that you want because you have to think about it like this. I always say Taylor Swift is a great example, right? Like whether you like her or hate her, doesn't really matter. She is a freaking wizard at marketing. She sings songs about her ex-boyfriends. Nothing against her, but it freaking works. Like imagine if you go to her concert and she starts doing like Screamo and all these different things. People are like, how did I pay a couple $1,000s to go to this? She has people lining up at the door paying $30 a beer just to go to her concert all over the world. So when it comes to your business, it's just clearly identifying who you want to market to and understanding that most agents aren't going to be consistent in the marketing. So that's a big chunk of them. Then there's a smaller group that is going to market to buyers and sellers, and they're not really speaking to anybody. And then once you really niche down and say, this is exactly who I'm for, you'll start getting more referrals because when someone says, hey, I'm downsizing my homes, do you know any agents? And if all of your content talks about downsizing, you're going to be the only agent that people get referenced to. So when it comes to creating your ICP and then who you should select, highly recommend. Take a look at your past clients. Who's been the favorite group of people that you've worked with? And then start saying, how do I create more content for them?
Love that. Yeah, it's simple, right? I mean, just focus on. Well, let me ask this though. I mean, because that's great advice. What if I'm new? What if I'm a new agent? Like, how would you suggest that person kind of pick this target?
I would suggest if you're a brand new agent. I mean, I guess it depends on age point too, right? So if I'm speaking to a younger first-time agent, first-time home buyers, why? Because all of your friends and the people that you really know are going to be first-time home buyers. Start leveraging the different age groups and the different parts of the community that you're in, right? Like if you're heavily involved in the church, you can create an entire ICP about how you'll help people there. And then a portion of what you make is given back to the church. And like, that's your big thing. So, there's just different ways. It's take a look at your life and say, who are the most amount of people in my life that are going to be buying or selling homes? And how can I create more marketing cater towards them?
Yeah. Love it. Cool. Well, so let's come back to the demo here. So I'm curious, give me like a snapshot of how you use this in a given day, right? So you sit down in the morning, you need to, let's say you want to make, we made one for SEO, right? So maybe is this like, I want to write a blog post? Is that what we're kind of using that for? Or let's walk through a couple use cases.
So this is where it gets fun, right? So like for me, one of the things I do, you'll see I have a bunch of these different ones that are built out. For me, like getting really in depth for this, what I would do too is, let's see, ICP first time. I'll just call it that. I create a lot of different documents using ChatGPT. So if we're going to get into like how I'm able to do all of this, I create this ICP. Oh, that's the wrong one. Let's see, first time millennial home buyers. So if I was going to write emails and I'm really looking to build my brand around this individual person, I am going to come into here and start building out a brand. Tell me what are some differentiating factors I can have for first time what are taglines and common phrases I can use? Give me a slew of different options to choose from. So if I'm really looking to create my marketing for them, the first thing that I always do, and I have sheets and sheets and sheets of this, is understand first what is my differentiating factors going to be for this. Because again, now that I know what they want and what are their pain points, what am I going to say that clearly makes me stand out and be different? First, going to use this to help create differentiating factors. I'm going to use it to find different keywords, different taglines for this. And I just create a bunch of different sheets that can then help me with different marketing aspects. And if I had the time here today, I would go through and read different ones too and figure out which ones are the ones I like, which are the ones that I don't like. So let's just say I liked all of this. Just go ahead, open up another doc. Oh, that was actually good. I'll use differentiating factors. Any given day. So open this one back up. I'll do email because that's what I do all the time. Email for real estate agents. Let's see. Master emailing. Email marketing. Let's use this one. 400,000 views. HubSpot. I'll take that. Come back here. Help me draft an email that would go out to my first time home buyer clients. Focusing on what makes me different. Include the taglines, a catchy subject, and finish with a call to action. So for me, I just train each one, come into here, tell it exactly what I want. It'll read the different information, cutting AI expertise.
Wow. Well, so let me ask you, as that's right, and that prompt you put in, you're giving it specific parameters, right? You're sort of saying, I want a subject, I want a tagline, I want all this kind of stuff. I think a lot of folks, when they use AI, they just say, write me an email, right? And I put all the rules in, it'll write me a good email. Why do we need to go through those additional steps to give it the more specifics in your experience?
So I feel like my biggest mindset shift that happened with this is treating this like an employee, right? Like if I treat it like an employee, I don't care how well trained they are. If I just tell some people on my team, like, hey, write me an email, they're gonna be like, right. What do I do? And they'll come back and it will never be exactly what I want. So I think about an employee that does anything that I say. I'm like, well, here's exactly the type of email I want. Here's the parameters that you need to do. Here's what I want out of it, and give it a step-by-step process of what to do. Once you start thinking about this as an employee, I think that's what it all changed for me. Because then I started thinking where it's like, if I'm going to ask it to create emails for me, I can't just ask an employee fresh off the street to create emails for me. I have to give it training. I have to give it parameters. I have to tell it exactly what to do. And the good thing is it gets trained in seconds, right? I kind of think about this like the Matrix when, what was her name in the Matrix? The person that was co-star with him. Anyways, but she's like, can you fly a helicopter? She's like, not yet. Downloaded it. She's like, now I can. That's basically what you have here. So that's essentially like what I do is I always give it parameters. I find the best training, rip off, duplicate, bring it over. And now it has an exact parameter of what I want to follow.
Wow. Yeah, no, that makes sense, right? I mean, I think that's where, it's surprising, but it seems like a lot of folks like just think that they're going to give a very vague instruction and they're going to get something specific out of it. But yeah, I mean, I agree with that. I think, thinking of it as an employee is probably if you know how to manage an employee, right? There's a lot of folks out there that still don't do that even with their employees. But if you're doing it right, then you're going to get a good result. Let's take a look. I think it's done right in here.
Yep. So
which it was done a while ago, right? I mean, this takes like what, 10, 20 seconds to generate an email from you?
That's how I generate every single one of my emails. Right now, we're averaging over 40% open rate, high click rates on everything that we do. I literally come in here every single day. I go into my ideal client profile. I tell it what we're promoting, what we're marketing, and based on everything, all the training that I have just pops out emails. I do the same thing for my YouTube channel, which generates different ideas for me. I do the same thing with SEO on our blogs, which helps generates our blogs. One of our clients, we're posting up to 6 blogs a day now for them, just using this strategy. And it's just steadily increasing every single time.
What have you, I mean, how much time do you think you save? I mean, because I know there's a trade-off. Obviously, there's time saved. There's also, we just do more now, right? Because we have these tools. So between those two, I mean, what are you thinking the overall benefits have been?
I would say my overall benefits is I train my ChatGPT. I have the team account, so that way my members can all come into the team account. I train the tool, which becomes the employee that my lower dollar an hour people on my team could then utilize. I turn a $7 an hour admin into an expert copywriter basically overnight. I turn a $7 an hour admin and turn your YouTube expert overnight with vidIQ and using ChatGPT. So I'm just looking at this. It's AI plus humans is I think where the magic happens. Right. Somebody that knows how to use the system that's in place can now just go in. They're writing my emails. They're writing my copy. They're writing my blogs. They're writing my YouTube. They're writing the tags. They're writing the headlines. And I get to literally take what I think, put it into here, and then have other people run the systems.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. It's amazing. Yeah. I mean, the more we look into this stuff, the more it's like, man, if you are not using these tools, you are going to be left in the dust here soon, right?
Man, I'll tell you what. This is a little bit off topic, but it's one of the simplest things. It's not a whole lesson, but I just want to give this away because I think it's one of the best things, whether you're a local business owner or a real estate agent. One of the best things that you can do that feels like a cheat code on here is you use the search GPT button where it searches the web, and you just use this prompt. Give me the top 3 things to do this weekend in Medina, Ohio, whatever city you're in. Literally just ask it, give me the top 3 things to do this weekend in Medina, Ohio. It's going to search the web. It's going to find the 3 best things for them to do this weekend, even give you links. And then you just ask it, great. Now write me an email to my database. And then literally every single week, you just use that simple prompt. And every week, instead of searching the internet, trying to find these things, do this or that, every week you have an email that goes out to your clients, goes out to your database. You can ask it to write you a Facebook post and then post it a bunch of community groups. And you're at least letting people know every single weekend what's there going on.
Wow.
I think it's just such a simple hack. You could ask it to then write a blog post. And of course, I kind of go a little bit more into like long tail keywords and different things along those lines.
Sure.
But just showing that simple prompt of going to search GPT, top 3 things to do this weekend. And the reason I love that one is because every weekend it changes. Like no matter what, it's the same prompt, but every weekend there's other things to do.
Amazing. Yeah, I love that. I mean, these are several things already. It's like I've done them. I know how long they take. I know how tedious they are. I mean, a lot of it's the tedious aspect, right? It's not even so much that, I would sit there, I do the research, I put the email together, but by week 6 of doing that every week, you're like, God, this sucks. I hate doing this, you know?
Yeah.
And yeah, there you go. I mean, 10 seconds, 20 seconds, the whole thing. I mean, not just one part too. I mean, you're multiplying the impact, you know, coming up with 5, 6 different versions of what you're doing, emails, blogs, social posts. I mean, amazing. Cool.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was just a simple hack. A lot of people are using it, and it's just a great way to keep your community informed. And you're right. Can you do this? Absolutely. Should you be doing it now? Absolutely not. Not when you have a tool like this.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I'm trying to think of like other questions to ask, but I'll be honest, like this is so straightforward. It's hard to like not understand, I would think, right? Let's say somebody isn't using ChatGPT, so they're kind of new to this. Do you want to kind of at least just kind of go back through the project system and sort of how you keep this organized? Because I know, and that's relatively new, projects, right? Like that came out a few weeks ago.
Projects is a couple weeks ago. Yeah.
Right. So I know before that it was just like this big old stream of chats you had to manage. That's obviously gotten a little bit more organized.
Yeah.
But let's say I'm just starting from scratch. I've never used it before.
Yeah.
Let's kind of go over a couple of those early steps.
Yeah, so if you're starting from scratch, just understanding that projects is essentially folders within here, and you can, the way I look at it is, if you're thinking about this like an employee, this is me training specific employees on my ChatGPT.
Got it.
So inside of here, when you do a project, let's just call it, I don't know, real estate, I don't know. Just calling it a project. You want to label actually what they do. So YouTube channel. So like if you want to do one for your YouTube channel, you create a project, and it gives you guys some different options here. Add files. So essentially what this does is it gives you the opportunity, whether it's adding a document about your business, adding training from YouTube, it gives you the ability to train this channel how to do things. So that way you could then communicate with it. Another great thing. Yeah, go ahead.
It's like the employee training. So like whatever you would kind of teach them when you onboard them, you put here, right? Okay.
That was a great way. Thank you, Nick. I'm going to use that. It's like your employee handbook, right? What's your employee handbook, your employee training that you want them to reference every time they give you a result? And then the instructions is basically saying, what do you want this employee to act as? That's what I always put in here. Act as this. So now it's like my own custom employee inside of ChatGPT. And then every time you have a chat, you'll see here, my chats inside of this channel are right underneath. Another cool feature, if you're like me and have a crap ton of these different just threads inside of here, you can drag and drop your past conversations into a folder. So that way you can take conversations and bring it into different folders. It's a way you can start organizing this and training it as a chat.
Very cool.
Something great that I've done too is, I'll tell you what, one of my favorite parts of this is building one for your business plan. You can use ChatGPT to create a business plan for you and then upload your business plan here and tell it, act as an expert business planner for real estate agents. Here are my goals for the year. And you can come into here and just talk. It's essentially turning your ChatGPT into your business coach, and you can talk to it back and forth. It knows your goals, it knows your motivations, it knows your KPIs. You can tell it where you're at in the year, come up with a custom sheet, and literally just turn this into a custom game plan.
Wow. Incredible. What is your opinion on, you know, like obviously you saw this in your business and pivoted. I mean, do you think a lot of agents are going to be kind of switching from paying coaches, which is a huge industry, obviously, to this kind of stuff? Like, have you seen examples of that happening yet, or is this more down the road, do you think?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think it's the agents who can be self-accountable, yes. But there's also a lot of agents who pay coaches more so for the accountability than their actual expertise.
Right.
So I think it's, for the expert agents, they're going to eat this shit up. They're going to eat it up because they're going to be able to come into here, get better questions, get better answers, hold themselves accountable. There's also, I know we're not going to go into it, but the tasks, even being able to utilize ChatGPT with the different task features, which I think is massive. I'm not going into that today, but for the people and for any business owner, entrepreneur that's self-accountable, this should be your best friend. For everybody else, go get yourself a coach. Have them help you hold yourself accountable.
Right. Yeah, and then all the messages the coach is sending are probably from ChatGPT. You just won't know.
Smart ones.
Yeah, right.
Right?
Yeah,
that's
no,
where go ahead.
No, yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, that's amazing. The ability to, and that I think that's you and I obviously kind of think this way, and we're curious about these things. But I think a lot of folks have no idea all of the different parts of your business and life this can be helping with, right? I mean, we just in this demo we've probably gone over sort of 5 or 6 different, very different use cases, right? I mean, very different sort of benefits you're getting. Yeah, it's amazing. So let's kind of, I mean, obviously that was such a great sort of succinct demo. I love it. I can literally take this and go implement it right now, which I'm gonna do that after we're done here.
Yeah.
I guess any final thoughts on this approach, or sort of any overarching rules you want to give people?
Yeah. I think my overarching rule is start training this like a lifelong employee. Look, like family, this is literally the employee you've always dreamed of. You train it once and you don't have to train it again. It works 24/7. It's $20 a month, right? You should upgrade. It's $20 a month. Works 24/7. If you are like me and you watched Iron Man and you saw Jarvis and it's like, man, if I had something like that, I'd be unstoppable. Well, here you go. You have it. It just comes down to start treating this like a lifelong employee that's going to be with you every step of the way. Like ChatGPT is already with Apple Intelligence. It's already on all of our iPhones. It's getting built into a lot of different services that you are going to use. The better you can learn to communicate with it, prompting is the language of the future. Learn to communicate with it. Start training it like it's your employee. And a couple years from now, when you're spending minutes on tasks that used to take hours, you'll be thanking us.
Amazing. I'm looking forward to that point. I mean, I'm getting there a little bit. I'm using some of the stuff already, right? But yeah, I mean, the amount of time you can save. We talk about that with video a lot, make a video of yourself and it can go out and do work for you for months and years to come. But AI is a whole nother level to that. So very exciting. Cool.
Yes,
well, obviously, I think a lot of people watching this are going to want to know how they can learn more from you. Okay, I haven't gotten this sample here. So you want to tell us more about kind of how people can get involved with you?
Yeah, so we created the world's first AI certified agent, and we have an entire institute built out for AI just for real estate agents. We specialize in the real estate industry. If you just go to krem.ai, www.krem.ai, you can learn more about the different ways that we're starting to use artificial intelligence. And our massively transformative purpose as a company is to create the evolution of the real estate agent. I believe there will be traditional real estate agents and AI certified agents. And I believe we're on a working path to creating the evolution of the real estate agent.
Love that. That's awesome. If let's say folks want to follow you on social, what's the best way to get access to you?
At Nick Krem. Go to social. If you do that on Facebook, you do that on Instagram, that's where you guys can find me at.
All right. Easy enough. Good stuff. All right. Well, Nick, this has been amazing. I love it. I also just, thank you for keeping it simple and straightforward. I mean, that's my favorite version of these things, right? Something and if you're watching this, I mean, go do this right now, right? I mean, that obviously when you learn something, the sooner you implement it, the sooner you kind of get down to it, the more likely it is to stick. And I mean, in this case, like we're talking like 5 minutes of work and you've got an employee, which is crazy stuff. So Nick, thank you so much for joining us and teaching this to me today.
Yeah, absolutely, Nick. Look, I like keeping it simple, right? So I'm glad you liked it.
Absolutely. Cool. Well, thanks, folks, for tuning in. Appreciate you joining us, and we'll see you on the next episode of Teach Me AI. Talk to you then.
See you guys.
You're watching Teach Me AI with host Nick Niehaus.